So, this kidnapper thinks that taking a young mother's phone means she cannot call for help. He is wrong, because during one moment when he is not paying attention, she gets hold of his phone, secretly calls 911, and turns the device in his own car into evidence that will eventually help send him to death row. The woman's name is Denise Amber Lee. She is 21 years old, married, and living in Northport, Florida, with her husband, Nathan, and their 2 little boys. One child is 2 years old. The other is only 6 months old. On January 17, 2008, Nathan leaves for work while Denise stays home with the children. It should be an ordinary Thursday. But sometime between 1 and 2 that afternoon, a neighbor notices a dark green Chevrolet Camaro moving slowly through the street. The car circles several times, almost as if the driver is searching for one particular house. When the neighbor steps outside, the Camaro pulls into the Lee's driveway. Around 10 or 15 minutes later, the same car leaves. The driver is a 36-year-old man named Michael King. Denise does not know him, and yet, when the Camaro leaves her street, Denise is inside it, while her purse, keys, phone, and 2 children remain behind. There is no obvious sign of forced entry. There is no dramatic scene waiting for Nathan when he gets home. There is only silence, a missing wife, and 2 small children sitting together in the same crib, something their parents normally do not do. At approximately 3:30 that afternoon, Nathan realizes that this is not a quick trip to the store. Denise would not leave without her phone. She would not leave without her purse. And she absolutely would not leave the children alone. Police are called, and a search begins. But by that point, Denise has already been gone for hours. King takes Denise to his home, restrains her, and assaults her. Then, later in the day, he forces her back into the Camaro. And this is where his behavior becomes almost unbelievably careless. Between roughly 5:30 and 6:10 p.m., he drives to the home of his cousin, Harold Muxlow, and asks to borrow a flashlight, a gas can, and a shovel. His explanation is that his lawnmower is stuck in his yard, because apparently, when a lawnmower gets stuck, the emergency equipment you need includes a shovel, gasoline, and a flashlight after dark. Harold gives him the items, but as King begins to leave, Harold hears a woman's voice from inside the car asking him to call the police. He walks closer and sees King leaning into the vehicle, pushing down the head of someone with shoulder-length hair in the back seat. Harold asks what is happening. King tells him not to worry about it, which is normally what people say when there is definitely something to worry about. King drives away, but Harold does not forget what he saw. He checks King's house, finds no stuck lawnmower, and places an anonymous 911 call reporting that a woman may be inside the Camaro against her will. At this point, King has been seen near Denise's home. He has borrowed equipment that makes no sense, and his own cousin has heard a captive woman ask for help. The plan is already falling apart. But Denise is about to create the most important piece of evidence herself. At 6:14 p.m., while she is restrained in the moving car, Denise manages to get King's cell phone. She cannot openly explain what is happening because King is close enough to hear her. So she dials 911, keeps the connection open, and begins speaking in a way that sounds as though she is talking only to him. The dispatcher can hear a frightened woman asking to see her husband and children again. King realizes that his phone is missing and begins demanding it back. Denise apologizes, pleads with him, and carefully works information into the conversation. When the dispatcher asks her name, Denise identifies herself. When asked whether she knows the man, she answers no. She gives her home street. She asks King where they are going, hoping that he will say something useful while the operator listens. She asks whether he is going to hurt her. She tries to make him reveal a location without letting him know that police are on the line. This is not an accidental conversation. Denise is quietly interviewing her own kidnapper while bound in the back seat of his car. And King still does not fully understand what she has done. He thinks he is searching for a missing phone. He does not realize that every word, every threat, and every plea is being heard on the other end. Eventually, he finds the phone, and the call ends. But now, police have Denise's name. They know she is alive. They know she does not know the man holding her. And, most importantly, the number that made the call belongs to Michael King. Officers immediately go to his house, but neither King nor Denise is there. The phone has identified the suspect, but it has not revealed where the moving car is going. Then another witness encounters the Camaro. A man named Sean Johnson hears an adult woman screaming for help from the vehicle. A few minutes later, at around 6:30 p.m., a driver named Jane Kowalski stops beside the Camaro at a traffic light on Highway 41. She hears what she later describes as terrified screaming. She makes eye contact with the driver and sees him turn toward the back seat. Then a hand rises and begins striking the passenger side window. Jane tries to position her car so she can read the Camaro's license plate. King notices what she is doing, refuses to pull ahead, changes lanes, and moves behind her. Jane calls 911 and reports the suspicious Camaro. She continues watching as long as she can, but traffic separates them. Her call contains exactly the kind of information police need: the type of car, the direction it is moving, the behavior of the driver, and the fact that someone appears trapped inside. But the call is routed to a neighboring county's emergency center and is not connected to Denise's case in time. That means police have Denise's own call, Harold's report, and witnesses who have seen or heard her inside the Camaro. Yet the pieces are moving through different parts of the emergency system, instead of forming one clear picture quickly enough. The kidnapper is not escaping. Because nobody notices him, people are noticing him everywhere. The problem is that the information is not reaching the right officers fast enough. Eventually, officers issue a lookout notice for the green Camaro. At approximately 9:10 that night, law enforcement sees a matching car near Interstate 75 and forces it to stop. King does not immediately obey commands to get out. When he finally exits, officers notice that he is wet from the waist down and has mud on his shoes. His phone is inside the car, but the battery and SIM card have been removed. There's a gas can on the passenger seat. There's a blanket in the back. There is a shovel with dirt on it. There are strands of hair and what appears to be blood on the vehicle. And in the back seat, police find a ring that belongs to Denise. King is now in custody, but Denise is not in the car. For her family, that means the stop brings both hope and terror. Police have found the man. They have found her belongings. They have found evidence showing that she was inside the Camaro. But they still have not found her. A search of King's home uncovers more evidence. Investigators find duct tape with Denise's hair attached, blood and DNA evidence, and signs that she had been restrained inside the house. Search teams then focus on an undeveloped area near Plantation Boulevard, where the earth appears disturbed. On January 19th, 2 days after Denise disappears, investigators find her body buried several feet underground. She has been shot. A shell casing found near the site is later connected through tool marks to casings from a shooting range that King visited on the morning of the kidnapping. The gun itself is never recovered, but the Camaro, the house, the burial site, the phone call, and the witnesses have created a chain of evidence that is almost impossible to explain away. In 2009, a jury convicts Michael King of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and sexual battery. The jury unanimously recommends a death sentence, and the judge imposes it. His convictions and sentence survive years of appeals. Then, on March 17, 2026, almost 18 years after Denise's death, King is executed by lethal injection at Florida State Prison. He dies at the age of 54. But this story does not end only with King. Denise's family turns what happened into a campaign to improve emergency communications. Florida passes legislation in her name establishing training and certification standards for public safety telecommunicators. And the Denise Amber Lee Foundation continues working to improve how emergency calls are received, documented, and shared. Her final call becomes more than evidence in one criminal trial. It becomes a lesson about what a person in danger may sound like when they cannot speak freely, and why separate pieces of information must be connected before it is too late. Palm Beach County. King believed that by taking Denise's phone, restraining her, and controlling where the car went, he controlled the entire situation. He did not. Denise found his phone, gave police her name, revealed that she was being held by a stranger, and left behind a recording that placed his voice beside hers during the kidnapping. The call did not save her in time, but it helped identify her attacker, strengthened the case against him, and changed the training of the people responsible for answering calls like hers. The kidnapper tried to silence his victim. Instead, her voice became the part of the case that could never be buried.